All right, we're live. Hello and welcome to Rockies Recap, a part of the Rockies Now podcast network. Excuse me. Let's try this again because I think I recorded the recap just a few minutes ago, but the problem was the audio didn't kick in, so I had to reset that, and I found the issue. So again, here we are. And if you're watching this and you already know what happened in the last recap, welcome back for round two. But we're gonna go quickly just to keep you guys just a short time here. We won't be long here. So yeah, tonight, Michael Toglia, he continues to look good. He had 4 home runs now on the season, leads the Rockies team, and hats off to him and Brenton Doyle for having nice starts to the year. It's not easy, especially for some of these young players to be developing, but that's what they're there for. And I would have to say that it stinks to see Bryant hurt, but I think at the time being, with Bryant down with that back injury, which thankfully it doesn't sound too serious because according to Bud Black and some of the Rockies health people, he should be okay. He should be out for only a few days with that back. I think it was a back strain, and not to mention I think hurt his shoulder a little bit when he was, making that catch in right field in Toronto the other day. So again, glad that he's okay. At least he looks like he's okay. But it's good to see Michael Toglia get at bats in and getting playing time because he needs that. I think for any young ball player, especially for Toglia, the Rockies they need to give him at bats, especially with Bryant down right now, because the worst thing that could happen is that the Rockies get rid of Michael Toglia. He gets playing time elsewhere and he just shines, and he becomes a really good player for that team, right? And Toglia I feel like, is a big piece of this Rockies future if he can, lower the strikeout rate and increase his power. Um, Again, that was great to see hit a home run off of Aaron Nola, and so that was great to see. Again, if you're just joining us, yeah, Lux here. He's asking, "Are you streaming again?" We are. If you were listening to our last uh, recap video, my audio was bad, and so there you go. So that's why I'm doing it. Make sure we get good content out to you guys. So there you go. But yeah, so Brenton Doyle, Toglia, they look good. Doyle, he got on base a couple times with a walk, and then he got another single. I think it was early in the game. Actually, I think it broke up the no hitter middle of the game, so that was good to see. So yeah, play the young kids. That's what needs to happen. Starting rotation again looks solid. Cal Quantrill, another quality start, 6 innings. I think he had like 2 walks and a strikeout, but only surrendered like 4 hits. So again, another quality start for him. That was great to see. The bullpen looks good, minus that last inning in there. But Nick Mears, man, I wouldn't necessarily agree with Drew Goodman necessarily because I think in the broadcast they were talking about Nick Mears has closer type stuff. I wouldn't say that necessarily. I mean, he could definitely be a late inning guy, but I wouldn't say he's a closer because I feel like J Law is more in that position. However, he pitched, I think, the 7th inning tonight, and J Law looked good. Um, but yeah, the bullpen looks good. Beeks looked very shaky, kind of gave me actually, I should say all of us a scare late in the game. But yeah, the starting rotation, again, hats off. We talked about it over the last week, especially at Coors Field when we were playing the Rays and the Diamondbacks. The starting rotation has been a lot better, but the offense has really, really struggled. Ever since game 2 in Toronto, game 1 was awesome, right? We scored 12 runs and that was great to see. I was like, man, this is the awesome that like this is the offense that we can have this year. And then it just went back to where we were scoring only 1 run or 2 runs. And again, the Rockies offense has been struggling. Again, it's early. It's early in the season. This is bound to happen, but they got to be better. But again, they were playing against Aaron Nola, who has been pretty darn good so far this year. But still, they still have to score runs because these guys, these hitters are professionals. They're paid to swing the baseball bat and get line drives, get base hits, get home runs. That's their job. And right now it's just not clicking. Let's quickly talk about the Freeland scare because I know Lux and some other people are not really happy with Bud Black's decision, and I can definitely somewhat see their view on that. So I guess my thoughts on it. So, anyways, there was Freeland got the third. There was a wild pitch, and again, I don't want to, you know, take too much time on this, but anyways, there was another wild pitch by I believe Jeff Hoffman, who was a former Rockies pitcher back in the day when the Rockies were going to the playoffs. But he threw a couple wild pitches, which made Freeland advance to third base, and then another wild pitch allowed Freeland to try to go to home plate. And it was a wild pitch where you could definitely see the runner scoring from home because just hearing Drew Goodman's voice was like, oh, Freeland's going to score here. Not to mention Freeland has pretty good speed. I think he's the fastest pitcher on the team in terms of running speed. And so, anyways, the collision at the plate looked bad. My first reaction, I'm like, he's out for the year. Like, this is bad. He probably tore something in his arm. But then, as you look later, when he gets up, he was able to get up a little bit on his own. But basically ran to the dugout. I'm like, this is not good. And he went right down the stairwell. I'm like, yeah, he's going to be out for a while. Then a minute later, he came back up when they were reviewing the call, and I'm assuming they put his shoulder back in place. So that's got to hurt either way. We haven't really got any updates, I guess, but Lux here says in the comments, fire Drew Goodman too, as always, just PGing us. Yeah. But anyways, I think last time we heard, Bud Black said that Freeland should be fine. Again, sometimes fine is not their best answer or the clearest answer you can give. But again, if they're saying fine, at least that's somewhat hopeful that he should be okay. But again, it wouldn't surprise me if Freeland unfortunately missed a start or two because again, popping your shoulder out of place. And thankfully it wasn't his throwing arm because if it was throwing arm, he's out for multiple games potentially. But thankfully that was just it. But anyways, thankfully he's okay from what it seems like. But the ball was close. I personally thought he was safe, but again, I could see why they called him out. So that was an interesting play there. And then the Phillies got a walk off in I believe, the bottom of the 10th or 11th inning. Christian Pache based it to right field, won the game 2-1 Phillies. Rockies dropped to, was it 4-12 or 4-13 now in the season? So that doesn't look good. But again, it's early. But again, this is a team that's in transition right now. But at least the Rockies, like Tom and I have been talking about, they're staying competitive in these games. So that's good to see. But again, it's just like, I feel like whenever the Rockies pitching is really, really good, their offense is terrible, or vice versa. Their offense is really, really good, or their pitching is really bad. And there's sometimes those games where their offense is clicking and the pitching is clicking. That's when everything's great, right? Tonight was like one of those games was just like, man, score a run. And the Rockies, they had a couple opportunities to take the lead. Of course, with that Freeland play, again, I thought he was safe, but I mean, I wasn't super upset with that call. But at least I thought he was safe. And then there was again other opportunities where the Rockies could have gotten somebody at third, but also too, I think there was a couple of double plays tonight for the Rockies off that they could have scored some runs as well. So the offense doesn't look good, but they have to capitalize on getting that starting pitcher out early, kind of like in the movie Moneyball when Billy Beane is talking to the athletic players, right, and they're in that stretch of winning those games, and he's telling them, get that pitcher out of the fourth, fifth inning, eat up their bullpen guys. That's what the Rockies need to do. They got to play small ball. They got to take their at bats. They can't be swinging and missing a bunch of this bad pitches, right? And the Rockies, they chase a lot. They need to stop chasing. Yes, they need to be aggressive, but stop chasing. And I feel like there's a difference there. And so yeah, they just need to be better at the plate and have better at bats. So going on in baseball, not really much. I mean, today was Jackie Robinson Day, so hey, happy Jackie Robinson Day to you for those who celebrate. I think again, it's really cool that baseball they incorporate 42 on every jersey. I think that's just special, especially going back to the movie 42 when uh, you know Reese's character goes up to Jackie. Pee Wee, yeah, Pee Wee goes up to Jackie and he says, "Hey, maybe tomorrow we'll all wear 42." I think that's just, again, we did a podcast on our favorite baseball movies. That's back in the archive, so you're gonna have to check that out. But again, it's kind of cool that baseball does that, and it's just to honor Jackie, who was a Dodgers legend. So again, it might have been a good day for you and for people that celebrate Jackie Robinson, but not for the Rockies. But again, there's always tomorrow, a chance to be better. But let's see here. Um, it just, and I'm seeing some negative comments here, and and I do understand the negativity, especially toward like Chris Bryant and some of the other players. But again, it was a tough play in right field. I understand that, he's been injured a whole lot, and he's not playing right now. But again, like the guy ran into the wall, banged up his shoulder a little bit. It's got to hurt. And I mean, he had back issues before that game in Toronto. So, again, thankfully, it's not an IL stint. Hopefully, it's not. But again, I do agree with a lot of you that Brian needs to stay healthy. He needs to stop getting injured. He needs to be a little bit more better, and I think he needs to be playing first base, not right field. And I will say this too as well. I know I understand a lot of you didn't like how Bud Black put Freeland at second base tonight in that situation. However, he is the fastest pitcher on that team, and the Rockies they couldn't really go out and get Stallings at second base because he was going to be coming in at catcher for Elias Diaz, so they had to get a pinch runner, and everyone else was basically either done or either sick because I think Brendan Rodgers he was scratched from the lineup with an illness. Same illness I think Charlie had in Toronto. And then Jake Cave, he was out. He was not, both Rogers and Jake Cave, I believe, were not even at the ballpark tonight. They were in the hotel recovering from their illness. So, really, for Bud Black, and plus, it's a quick situation. I mean, you can't, I mean, Freeland's in the dugout, and to get a bullpen guy to run, you basically have to call the guy from the bullpen, say, hey, run to second base. I mean, again, it's not a lot, but it's just like, Freeland was the only option, and I guess I can understand why people blame Bud Black for that. But Freeland, he's had experience a couple times I want to say pinch hitting, especially when they used to have the no DH rule in the National League, which is kind of cool still because I kind of wish pitchers could still hit. But and then I think, and of course, I mentioned this in the first take of the Rockies recap tonight. Of course, again, I'm restarting it because the audio was not very great. My mic wasn't working; it was not connected to my Mac here. But I think Freeland one time, it was in 2021. It was in Wrigley Field, and some of you might remember this. He played in right field for like one inning, and so again, I understand the frustration and the anger and the upset against Bud Black, but that was who Bud Black went with. And again, Freeland actually ran the bases pretty well, except that collision at home plate. And again, it nearly cost us Freeland for an entire season. But it's kind of funny too because a lot of these people were the same people that were saying Freeland sucks at the start of the year, DFA Freeland. So, but again, it's good that he's so far okay. We haven't heard anything negative from Cal Freeland, regarding his injury or if he's injured. Sounds like he's okay. They popped his shoulder back into place, and again, thankfully, it wasn't his throwing hand. So that's good news, I guess. So again, nothing really going on in baseball. That's it for tonight's Rockies recap. Again, make sure following us on social media, subscribe to the YouTube, and stay tuned for our new articles are going to be coming out. And stay tuned for more Rockies recaps because I got this Philly series covered. Tom's got the Mariner series at Coors Field covered as well. So again, make sure you're watching for our content because we're making brand new content every single day, and we're going to be coming out with some really cool stuff coming up. So make sure you're staying true for that. Anyway, folks, I don't want to take too much away from you tonight. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow for game 2. Make sure you stay tuned. And as always, go Rockies.